Thank you for being patient with us. Already it says we've got about 60 people in the room. So I'm just thrilled to see you and excited to talk to you here in a few minutes.
Yeah, she's on, and she automatically becomes a co-host.
Okay, is she there?
Yeah, she's there, and like I said, you're co-host, so you should be able to take charge. I'm gonna try to run the strings in the background.
Start now.
Yep, go for it. Sorry.
Hi, I have some ESA girls that are in waiting rooms.
We're trying to get them in right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks, Cassie. Everyone, thanks for waiting. It's good to see you all.
Hello.
So as we're admitting people into the room, if you could go ahead and mute yourself. At the end of the meeting, we'll have a Q&A, and you'll be able to unmute yourself then to ask questions, but it'll help us now if you just put yourself on mute. People are just flying into the meeting, and we're going to give it maybe 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to start. Cassie, are your girls able to get in?
Looks like so far everybody is, yeah.
Good, wonderful. Do you have any idea how many of them are joining us tonight?
So while we were waiting, I created like a separate Zoom link, and I had, I think, like 15 in there.
You're awesome. That's great.
Thanks.
Okay, everyone. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I am so glad to be with you tonight to talk about Night in a Car. My name is Todd Keller. I'm the one who sent the 100 emails that you've gotten since you signed up, and excited to meet with you tonight. My position here at Home Sweet Home is the Donor Relations Coordinator. I've only been here since April and have joined just an incredible team here. But one of the things I get to do is to direct Night in a Car. And some of you have been involved in that event all 5 years, others a few years, and some of you, it's your first time. If it's your first time participating in Night in a Car, would you just wave at us? If this is your first time, oh my goodness, welcome first timers. How about if you've got 2 years under your belt? How many have done it for 2 years? Wonderful. 3? Wonderful. 4? All right, and where's our veterans, all 5 years? That is awesome. Thank you so much. I just want you to know that in 66 days and 18 hours, we will be having Night in a Car 2021. Even in COVID pandemic, even with the pandemic, we have a record number of teams so far. 60 teams have signed up. So you are a part of a huge team of Thank you for being a part of it. Hey, just a reminder, go ahead and mute yourself if you could. And so we are going to go through the meeting. At the end of the meeting, we will have a time for questions. If you have any that come along through the meeting. But I first want to just tell you that the purpose of this meeting is just so we can see each other, to see the incredible team that we have, and also to give you some tips and trade secrets, some incentives for the night, because for so many of you, in fact, 40 teams are new this year. And so we wanted to get a chance, have a chance just to come together and give you some tips for the event. And so I'm going to have Pastor David McBurney. He's the pastor of missions and outreach and young adults over at our partners at Trinity Lutheran Church. And Pastor David, if you would go ahead and start us off in prayer, that would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and start us off in prayer. Let's pray, everyone. Dear Jesus, thank you so much. It's just amazing that we can still be together even during a pandemic. And so the first thing we want to do is praise you for providing. Thank you for the technology and for our communications coordinator, Leslie, who's been working tirelessly to get us connected. Lord, right now we have almost 60 people that are connected online tonight. Thank you, God, for this team that you brought together. And I pray, dear Jesus, that you would give us joy as we connect with each other behind this common purpose. We love you. Thank you for each person here. Amen.
Amen.
I'm going to pass it over to our CEO at Home Sweet Home, Marianne Pullen, who is not only a participant, but a huge cheerleader behind this event. Marianne, why don't you bring greetings for us?
Hi there. I am Marianne Pullen, and as Todd said, I'm the CEO here at Home Sweet Home. And no, I don't always wear a hat, but some of you would recognize, those of you who have been in White in a Car before, this was a hat from one year, and this is my sweatshirt from another year. Okay, so got lots of swag, lots of memorabilia. So Night in a Car, this is our 5th year for Night in a Car. But just to put that in perspective, Home Sweet Home just last week celebrated its 103rd anniversary. So we've been a part of the local community for 103 years, bringing hope and sustenance and a fresh start to thousands and thousands of people over those years. And so we are just thrilled to have you all as part of our Home Sweet Home family. So you're family now. Let's see, what else am I supposed to, okay. Do I toss it over to Matt at this point, Todd, or?
Well, yeah, I'll take it away. So in February, Marianne, who we love, is going to be retiring from this position. And our new CEO will be Matt Burgess. And I believe Matt's online with us. Matt, why don't you bring greetings for us?
There we are. Hello, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there with it. I see some very familiar faces on this, and I'm excited about seeing all of you. And then there are a lot of faces I don't recognize. We're just really, really excited about Night in a Car and having you be part of it. This is such a powerful experience every year. Those of you who have done it before know what I'm talking about. And those of you who will be experiencing it for the first time this year. I was on an interview for a radio station today, and I was asked, so is this a virtual meeting or a virtual event, Night in a Car? I said, there's nothing virtual about spending the night in your car in February. And so we're excited to have you join us. I'm excited to be a part of it again. I usually find some interesting vehicle to try and sleep in. And so I'm open to suggestions for this year.
So I want to interview a few of you. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Marianne. I wanted to interview a few people who have done the event before so that we can just kind of find out what Night in a Car has come to mean to them. And so I want to interview Pastor Billy Newell from Trinity Lutheran Church, Michelle Cope with Team Bookmobile Babes, and Cassie Little, who's been heading up ESA or Epsilon Sigma Alpha. And so I'll start with you, Pastor Billy. If you would just let us know, what has this event come to mean to you?
Yeah, thanks for letting me be a part of this whole deal. It's super exciting to see how many people like raise their hand to say I'm in it for the first time. So we just know there are new people that are just as crazy as we are every year. And that's super exciting. So this has grown to be a special event for me because there was a season in my life back middle school, high school times, whenever I like to say I was a slap away from being homeless. And because of an organization at the time that helped provide food for my family, and because of actually a friend's parents that let me live with them for quite a while, I don't have to have that tag in my past. And so what this just means to me is that I can be a part of a community of people that are trying to provide the same kind of support for folks that find themselves not able to have a house, and maybe are sleeping in their cars to try to make it to the next time when they can. And so it's an opportunity to raise awareness and raise money, and God's given me an outlet to be able to share this with a lot of people. So I'm glad to be able to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pastor Billy. And Michelle Cope, you're a part of Team Bookmobile Babes, and I want you to share, even though you demanded that I get you a pink car this year, which I did. So we've got that. But it's been so much fun working with you. Michelle, what has this event meant to you?
Well, I feel very close to this event just because a lot of the people that we're talking about come to the library to have a warm place to be during the winter. And right now we're closed. So, kind of just gives me another opportunity to be able to serve them. For me, a couple of years ago, I heard the testimonies. I felt the cold as I slept, and I saw heard every noise as people passed my car, everything you hear, you're aware of. And just to wake up the next day and realize that interrupted sleep, it stays with you, and you are going to feel that for days to come. And how do these people, not only how do they stay warm, but how do they have a life, a productive life with this kind of sleep and cold and just interruption to their lives? I just really, I think it just, it's a great testimony of just how courageous these people are and what they have to go through, and just want to support them.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for being our partner. And I want to talk to Cassie a little bit. Cassie, you have done a lot of work. I'm so impressed with how you've organized your sorority, Epsilon Sigma Alpha. In fact, we have, I believe, 5 youth group teams. We have 3 colleges that are represented, several families with little ones. So a lot of support from younger generations. But Cassie, if you would just tell us, you participated last year with ESA. What has this event meant to you?
So as most of my girls in the sorority know, when I was in elementary school, I was homeless for a period of time, and me and my dad lived out of my car. So, as fun as this event is, when you're doing it every night, it's almost paralyzing, kind of like Michelle was talking about. It's hard to be productive and move on from that situation. And so I was fortunate enough to get out of that situation. And, I'm in college now, and I'm in a place where I feel like we need to give back to our community. And so this event is important to me because it's kind of like a representation of how much good our community can do when we come together and we work as a team. And yeah, I am really impressed with all the girls in ESA, and just seeing all the younger groups come out and support this kind of a cause, because, when I'm originally like talking about Night in a Car, it's like, why would you want to do that for an event? Like that doesn't sound very fun, but we really can make fun out of it, and, like just bring some good and some awareness to the situation. I think so many people are afraid to talk about homelessness, especially in the Bloomington-Normal area. So I think this event is perfect.
Well, thank you. We're so thankful for you. ESA has 10 different teams. Cassie, how many participants is that? Do you know?
I honestly think we have like 60, maybe more.
60. That's
probably more than that. People keep signing up, so probably.
Thank you for your work on that. I really appreciate it. And I want to introduce you all to Eric Haas. Eric Haas is very important to us here at Home Sweet Home, and he's a huge champion of Night in a Car and has participated for 5 years in a row. And he's going to lead us in talking about some tips that we have, best practices, and matching opportunities that we have. But let me say to Pastor Billy, Michelle, Cassie, Marianne, Matt, when we get to the part where I say, what tips do you have for everyone? Feel free to jump in if you have any tips. But first, let's start with Eric. Hi, Eric.
Hey, hi, Todd. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
I want you to know, Marianne, I too am wearing the proud sweatshirt, but not the hat. So anyway, yeah, I know, Matt, showing off. So 5 years I've been doing Night in a Car, and every year I learn something new. So I'm going to give you some quick tips on things that I wished I'd known the first year I did this, and things that I think will help make it really more of an exciting event. First of all, I was nervous the first time. I mean, if you go outside today, for example, it's chilly out, and you go out and you're probably ready to come back in as soon as you can. So the thought that you would go out and stay out overnight was pretty daunting. I remember the first time, I remember joking to Marianne, why don't we do this in June? And she gave me a good answer, which was, really, that's not the idea behind this. It's really to experience what Cassie, I thought, talked about well. And really, when you wake up the next day, it's one thing to read about homelessness. It's another thing to feel bad about homelessness. It's one thing, but when you wake up, you really have felt like you have been experiencing that. And I realize a tiny piece compared to people every day. So for me, it's a very...
Hey, everyone, if you could go ahead and mute yourself, that would really help us. We're trying to watch for that, but some sneak by us. Sorry about that, Eric. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. Anyway, so a couple tips I'm going to share. And really, when you think about it, this is February, so it will be cold. I know it's been different. We had snow one year. It was really chilly, I think the first year, as I recall. And then next year wasn't so bad. You really don't know because it is Illinois. But a couple things you need to realize. You will be colder than you realize when you go out, because most times when we're out in the cold now, you're doing something. You're either shoveling or you're trotting between places. When you are in a car not moving, it will naturally make you feel even colder. So I only bring that up because if you kind of go outside with your jacket and stay, yeah, this isn't so bad. When you're not moving and in a car, it will get colder. So make sure you dress appropriately, because being stationary will make you feel colder. And some things you don't want to forget that are probably obvious, but I'll share them anyway. You want to make sure you cover your face. And one thing is, when you wear a hat like Matt's wearing, that's fine. But I found wearing a ski mask actually helps, because your face actually gets cold. And you don't think about that, again, if you're moving around. But when you're not moving, it can get cold. And you definitely want to do the warm socks and have multiple copy versions, in fact, or multiple things to put on, and even gloves. Warm packs that I use when I go to the Chicago Bears games are very helpful. If you use those, you can break them and they warm up. Those were godsends, and I use those a lot. You want to bring layers, because again, you will get colder. Do not be afraid to have extra there and put it on, because if you do get cold during the night, that's helpful. And of course, sleeping bags and blankets are important. One thing that I made a mistake the first year is I brought an air mattress in the back of my SUV, and that air mattress turned into a block of ice. It literally was frozen. So I've learned to use cushions, like off of a sofa, and those things do not collect the cold. And so cushions work way better than an air mattress, even though I thought the first year that was an air mattress. That was a mistake. You want to have a flashlight. I actually am starting to use this one, which is like a headband one, so you can see yourself. But definitely have more than one. I lost my flashlight one year and literally could not find it. It was like I have no idea where it went. So have a couple of those. Have a fully charged cell phone. One thing that I did that I know Leslie would appreciate is Facebook Live. Putting yourself out there and showing everybody. It's great for the people who have sponsored you already. But I got bunches of donations when people, I guess, felt sorry for me and saw me out there. So don't be shy. Just to keep the giving going when you're out there, and use Facebook Live or other social media to share. So you need a fully charged battery for that. Make sure you have snacks or drinks in the car. I mean, I found that to be very helpful. Again, it's nice not to leave the car. Once you get warm, you really don't want to do that too much. If you lock your car, which you probably will want to do, realize that if you try and lower your window because you're trying to get some air in, you will inadvertently set off your car alarm. I made that mistake last year, and trying to get some air in, not realizing because the door was locked, it set off an alarm. So
everybody loves that guy.
Yeah, I know. I felt awful. It was like 3 a.m, and I quickly buried myself under the pillows. But thank you all for being supportive of me when I set that off. One thing that I found helpful is bring a scraper. I know you have those when you have to clean the outside of your car, but guess what? Because of your breath and condensation, you're going to want to do it on the inside of your window. So have a scraper handy. You will find that very helpful as well. Really, you're going to have a great time. It's going to be exciting. Just being prepared and making sure that you have everything together will be making it even more special. But I will tell you, take advantage of learning from it, and the next day or after, make sure you pass on the message, because it's not just a one and done, and share what you learned and how you felt, because after the first year, I was hooked, and it really, for me, helped solidify what I already thought was a strong faith and a strong support of people who were homeless. When you have to spend your night in your car, the next day you realize that there's a lot of people hurting, and it's really something that motivates me, at least, to keep the support going. So those are some quick tips. I know, Todd, you want to talk a little bit about some matching and stuff, but I'll just see some of the other veterans. If you've got some other tips that you've learned, maybe don't park next to Eric with the alarm going off. That's a good one. But any other tips that you got?
Yeah. Any other thoughts out there, tips that you would pass on?
I have a couple. So what we found last year is if you own a weighted blanket, those are super helpful.
Sure.
Those are like, it was like my saving grace last year. And then in terms of fundraising tips, I saw somebody in the chat said social media, which is so true. Something I found is not just using Facebook, because I feel like, so I fundraise a lot with ESA, and I feel like I get very repetitive on my Facebook feed with, St. Jude links, all that kind of stuff. So I found like differentiating the social medias I'm using. And then what ESA does is we use bingo boards on our stories, which are kind of like, you'll have one square worth $3, another square worth $5, another square worth $10. And then when you put it on your story, people will buy those squares, and then you can tag them and share that they fundraised for you. But it adds up super quickly. So ESA, we will be making some to use for Night in a Car, and I can definitely share those with the group.
That's great. What a great resource. Thank you. Any others? Any tips you want to share with us?
Yeah, this is Pastor Billy. I just remind people that there's not really a badge we give out to people who stay in their car the whole time. So, just be mindful that there will be a place open inside for you to come in, use the bathroom, maybe plug your cell phone in for a little while. But when you have to do that, like many other things, I would just, since Eric gave such a great practical list just now of things to do, I would encourage you to enter into this with your senses wide open. What I mean by that is, yeah, you'll hear things you don't normally hear. Last year, I couldn't be here on site, and I was in St. Louis, but I said, hey, it's your car. You sleep in your car wherever you are, right? So I slept on a side street in St. Louis, and it renewed my openness to hear different sounds. I found that I've gotten comfortable in this Trinity parking lot because I'm here every day. And so those things will be powerful things for you to now have a new perspective. And many of us don't have to go through this. And so those are the things that will equip you with the story to share for others that aren't here on site with us. And that will also then, draw them into supporting the effort along the way. And then I mentioned in the chat, but another practical thing is whenever it's like 25, 30 degrees outside, your cell phone batteries will drain faster because they're so cold. So just be prepared when you're live streaming and stuff like that to have to recharge frequently.
Good. Let's have a couple more. Any other tips?
Yeah, I'll throw a couple things out. I learned a lesson the first year that we did it. I think it got down to 10 or 11 degrees that year overnight. And I had, I thought I'm prepared. I'm ready. I've got my water bottle. I've got my cell phone, and Billy, my cell phone died just like that first year. And my water bottle, it got so cold, it froze solid. So, just be thinking about that with the temperature, that if it's that cold, tuck that water bottle in under your blankets or sleeping bag, whatever you're using to keep it from freezing. But I really liked what Pastor Billy said about, as you're going through the night of Night in a Car, to really be reflecting on why you're doing it, and try to let it resonate with you. That this is just a simulation. This is, you get to go home the next day and get warm and take a shower and get some good quality rest. And so reflecting at all of those times during the night where you find yourself awake, just to be thinking about people who don't have that luxury. And I think that that's an important part of this whole thing, that there's no way we can duplicate the actual experience, but we can try and simulate it for all of you. And we really hope that you find that there's value and meaning for you in the experience.
Wonderful. Thank you, Matt. We realize that.
One last thing.
Yes, sir.
I almost forgot. Do not underestimate the power of your voice and your network of people.
Yeah.
Most of us grossly underestimate how much we can achieve when it comes to fundraising for a cause that's important to us.
That's right.
And so just trust that, well, I'll say God's up to something here, and he will show up in a powerful way. You just tell the story and let it have its way with other people, and they'll get bought in. Okay. So don't be afraid just to share it, the thoughts you're having. And I promise you, people will resonate and they'll join you in on this effort because they care about you and they care about the things that are important to you. All right, I'll shut up now.
Thank you, Pastor Billy. And thank you everyone for your voice of experience. I'm going to move on through the meeting, but if you have more tips, put them over in the chat. And as I see them, I'll make sure that I point towards those. Thank you, veterans, for giving us some tips. We understand that this year, because of the pandemic, there will be some joining us at the Trinity Lutheran Church parking lot. We have people that are going to be joining us in other states and people who are going to be joining us in the driveway of their own home. There's just a lot of ways to help this year, and it's really forced us to be flexible. So thank you, no matter how you are helping. Now I want to talk about sponsorships, and then I'm going to go back to Eric and talk about matching programs. But if you go to nightincar.org, which is such an incredible resource for you, there is a place for corporations to sign up as a sponsor. And we have reached out to as many organizations in town as we know, but a lot of you are very well connected to stores and restaurants and companies. And if you would help us by reaching out to those companies and seeing if they would like to be a sponsor, on nightincar.org, there is a place for them to sign up and sponsor an amount of money that they choose to help with the event. So if you would be our ambassadors for sponsorships and help us, that would be wonderful. I really appreciate it. And then, of course, many of your companies that you work for, that you're associated with, they have matching programs. And Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about taking advantage of that?
Yeah, depending on the company, you may not be aware, but many organizations will do matching programs. Basically, you make a donation and they'll match what you put in. And that's something you want to definitely explore whenever you're making any kind of donation. Many times you don't realize your employer does that. So do ask. A lot of times it's through the HR department or something, and just say, hey, is this something that is done? And you'd be surprised the amount of money that's probably left on the table every year when people don't take advantage of that. So do research that. I know people who actually will have family be matching with them as well. A family member will say, hey, I'll help you out and I'll be matching up to a certain amount that they work out together. So it could even be a family member, but definitely be looking at the employers and looking at options for matching. I've been doing that pretty regularly through State Farm where I work, and it has been great to watch, especially the people who donate being able to augment and double their donations. So definitely look into that, and don't be shy. You might be surprised that the place you're working for actually will do that.
Yeah, we're so thankful that we have partners in the community that do that. I don't know if you guys are keeping your eyes on the chat, but we've got some tips over there. Tony, thanks for that tip. Yeah, every time you get out of the sleeping bag, you have to start all over warming it up. And we will trust all of you to keep yourself safe. You may decide, just like people who live out of their car in the cold nights, that you might need to turn your heater on just for a bit to give some heat. That's a decision that you have to make. But keep those tips coming. I want to turn it over to our communication hero, Leslie, who is our communication coordinator. Thank you for setting all of this up. Leslie, and for being so quick on the draw when Zoom froze on us. We all got back on here, and there's 61 of us here. So God helped us. That's great. But you're going to give us some tips on how to use the promotional material, Facebook, and how to take advantage of the Christmas season. So take it away.
Yes. Well, first I just want to say thank you everyone for hanging in there. That was quite a surprise. I'd done some practice run throughs. It was working great. And then I don't know what happened and it froze. So that was fun. So I'm kind of coming down on that stress level right now. But yeah, so I need to talk about promotional materials. And I wanted to highlight this a little bit because I've had participants in the past tell me when they stumble onto the Night in a Car website that they're like, after the fact, they find this little tab. It's underneath the About tab, and it's called Promotional Materials. And I want to highlight that because a lot of people are finding that out after the fact. They're like, oh, if I'd known about this, I might have utilized some more stuff in there. So yeah, so under there, you're going to find like a lot of different kind of promotional materials already created. If there's something you just are really in dire need of, you can just reach out to me and I'll work with you, and I'm happy to create things within reason if you need it. But under promotional materials that are out there, I have things like the logo, I have flyers about the event created, some little handouts if you need it. One thing that I know a lot of participants find very beneficial, especially when they're trying to solicit donations and stuff like that, is there's a sheet under there with fundraising facts. So it shows you like, if you donate $10, that provides a day's worth of meal for the shelter. And most of you guys are setting your goal for $1,000, and that covers, someone's, for a month's, shelter, food, those kinds of things. So just little tidbits like that you can use to kind of encourage donations come in. That's on there. And then also if you're stuck when you're getting ready to do a Facebook post or something like that, and you're just like, I'm not sure what to do or how should I word that, just for a quick refresher, you could just use these as an example. There's some social media post examples for like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and everything like that. So that's available. That's at your fingertips. If you have any questions or need more stuff, I'm definitely available to help you out there. And then of course, the next kind of thing that brings me to is obviously Night in a Car, nightinaccar.org, the website. That's a great place to find out everything Night in a Car. You obviously see your team pages there. Other information is there. We'll try to keep that updated as much as possible as we get closer and closer to the event. But one of the best ways to kind of keep in touch as a participant is to be on our Night in a Car Facebook group. If you're not, you can just search us on Facebook, Night in a Car 2021, and you should be able to get in there, and I'll preview to get you to join. Geared more towards all of you guys. So any good news that we want to share or a quick update as we get closer to the event, we'll be able to post that there, and you'll see that. And don't worry, we'll send out emails. We'll definitely keep you all informed and in touch, but just so you guys know that's out there. And then it never hurts also if you're not following just Home Sweet Home Ministries on our Facebook page, do that too, because usually some of the key things we share on the Night in a Car Facebook group, we're sharing on our just Home Sweet Home Facebook page as well. So that's out there. And then another thing I just want to throw out there and just talk about just a little bit is that obviously, okay, crazy, Christmas, it's upon us now. And I know as you start to collect donations, one of the things you might want to consider, especially this year, it might be harder to gift shop, is, don't be afraid to hesitate or ask family members like, well, instead of a gift this year, how about I'm participating in Night in a Car, how about you support me? And with those fundraising facts, you can kind of list off some things and maybe they'll help support you. And, there's that. And then overall, just don't be afraid to get creative. I was loving hearing the bingo idea. I'll give props out to Pastor Billy because, he's got he has a personal challenge where, he'll ride so many miles on his bike because he's an avid biker that he'll do if he reaches certain amounts in his goal. And just little things like that. Or you could make a pledge, like if when I get to $200, I'll get an extra blanket. Or when I get to $300, I'll get this. Just fun ways and creative ways you can come up with to challenge everyone and things like that. So, one thing I want to point out is that I've seen all you teams are awesome. But I noticed that a lot of you don't have pictures, like a team picture or a personal picture. And if you want to get a picture up, all you need to do is just email those to me and I will get your picture updated because I love seeing everyone's faces instead of just the logo. So.
Thank you, Leslie. Thanks for all your work to help us out. Cassie has created a real firestorm in the chat about the bingo. And I saw that, thank you, Cassie, but I saw that they're going to send those bingo cards to me and I'll send those out to everyone. That's a great idea.
Yeah. And if I get them, I can even put them in this on the promotional page on the website too, so people can download it however.
Yeah, Cassie, thank you for that idea. That's wonderful. Well, I want to talk to you about the incentives, the challenges that have been taking place. We had the 50 car challenge. That's where most of you joined us. We had an anonymous donor who gave money for the first 50 teams that joined, and many of you took advantage of that. That was $100. And then we just finished up yesterday the November challenge, our donation challenge, and Redbird's out and about all night. If you can wave at us, you guys won that challenge. That was so good. And they got $10 for every donation that came in through the month of November, and ended up getting 23 donations. It's just incredible. Thank you. You guys are doing a great job. And then there was the added surprise that anyone who had a donation come in for November got $10 from our generous anonymous donor also. And so I went in today and updated those amounts, so you should see them reflected. Well, the thing that I've been the most excited to talk to you about in this meeting is the incentive that we have for December, and it's a big one. You all have your donation goal for your team, and those are various amounts. People always ask me, what should the donation amount be? And all I can say is that there's an average of about $1,000, but some people go way over, and some people, they go under that because they know what they can raise and what they can do. Well, no matter what your team donation goal is, here's the December challenge. If you raise the total of your donation goal within the month of December, that's going to push you a little bit earlier than you thought. But the first 25 teams who raise their total goal will receive $200 on top of their goal. So if your goal was $1,000 and you get that in before the end of December, then it's going to show that you raised $1,200 for Night in a Car. We're very excited about this incentive, and for our sponsors who are helping us with that. But the first 25 teams to meet your goal, $200. And I want to remind you that our overall goal is $100,000. That is much larger than we've raised in the past, because the steering team, this crazy group of leaders, decided that this year we wanted a God-sized goal. And God is taking care of us. He's putting together an incredible team. You're a part of that, and I believe we can do it. If every team raised their goal that they've already submitted on nightincar.org, we would raise at right now $70,750. That's not counting more teams that are going to join us. It's not counting more sponsors who are going to help us. But today we had a team decide to raise their donation goal because the money was coming in a little bit easier than they thought it was. And so no matter what your goal is, number one, we appreciate it. Thank you for the hard work that you're doing. But number two, remember, the first 25 teams that raise the total goal within December are going to have $200 added to the top. And all of that, of course, goes to help Home Sweet Home. Today, I was sitting in the cafeteria. I was looking at some who are here with little children. And it reminded me of a comment that one of our residents made. It's been a couple months ago, but they said, there's just something about not having to worry about where your next meal is going to come from, or whether or not you're going to have a roof over your head. And so the work that you are a part of here at Home Sweet Home, it is so important. And just imagine the hope that it is giving not only to our residents, but also to the surrounding community. We do a lot of ministry and work here, not just for those who stay here, but also for those who are part of our co-op and those who need hot meals through the week. Home Sweet Home, we have our hands and feet all over the city, and you're helping us with that. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, literally. All 59 of you on the Zoom meeting tonight are already big supporters and lovers of Home Sweet Home. And I just want to say thank you. I do want to pray with you, but first I want to open up to any questions that we have. And so if you don't have any questions, you can feel free to go ahead and log off. Again, thank you so much for joining us, but we will open the floor to questions. Just unmute yourself, and I'll kind of be the MC of that. If I think there's someone that can answer that question better than me, then I'll throw it to someone else. Yes, Marianne? You have to unmute yourself. There we go.
I just want to reinforce how impressed I have been with the way that people have responded to these challenges that we've put out, these monthly challenges. And the one that just ended with November, there were 17 teams that brought in donations during the month of November. And that's just amazing. And yeah, the Redbirds are wonderful. We love the Redbirds, and you have met your goal. So we've got one team that's already met their goal. You can keep going, or you can adjust your goal, whatever you want. I also do want to draw attention to a comment from Will. Leslie, did you see that one? Okay, so he wants to edit his page. Leslie, I wonder if you could respond to that.
Yeah. I did send him a message already, but it's a good thing to bring it up to anyone. If any of you guys are wanting to change your profile picture or update your team story or anything like that, you need to email it to me and I'll make those changes. Because once you've done the initial creation, your control, that's kind of done. And then someone on the back end like myself takes care of that for you. So you just send that information to me and I am more than happy to update it with whatever you need to. I know some I've updated pictures already, added pictures and all that kind of thing, and I'm happy to do so.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I just saw that Redbirds, they've also already hit their team goal. So congratulations on that. So we're going to open up the floor for questions. If you don't have any questions, feel free to log off. Thank you for being a part of the meeting. But when it comes to questions, let me go ahead and address a couple of things. One, when it comes to additional COVID precautions and regulations, we're still quite a ways out from the event, and we know that things are changing on a daily basis. So when it comes to all of those ideas about COVID and our recommendations, we are going to wait till it's a little bit closer to the event and we'll send out communications about that. I've already told you that you have options. You can meet at the church at Trinity Lutheran on February 5th, or you can meet in your own home or really wherever you'd like. Just stay safe where you are. The other thing is I've had a couple questions asking when you're going to get your t-shirts and your information, and just know that's coming closer to the event. For those who are able to join us, we'll find a way to get it to you. We'll mail those or arrange a time for you to pick those up. And then when it comes to all of those details, as far as when to show up and how, the facilities will be used when it comes to bathrooms and hot chocolate and coffee, all of that. Again, as the event gets closer, we'll be sharing that information with you. So with all of that being said, what questions do you have for us tonight? Go ahead and unmute yourself when you ask a question, and I'll try to address them as best we can. I'm scrolling through the pages to see if I see anyone trying to talk.
Hey, Todd, one thing I know we changed this year is if someone wants to donate but wants to be anonymous, they can do that, but you can still, there's a record or a way that you can still see who that person was. So sometimes people don't want to have their name posted when it comes to donations. That's just a personal choice. So I just want to make sure people know that that's available, because I know some are nervous about getting their name out there. So you can do that, but I like the fact you can still see if you want to know who that was, because last year I had some people anonymous and I didn't know that they donated. So I bugged them again and they go, I did donate. And it was just better that I could thank them, because you do want to be, of course, appreciative of people who donate. So just good information, because some might have people who don't want their name out. So
yeah, thank you for that, Eric. Appreciate that. Hey, it doesn't appear as if there are any questions. I don't see any in the chat. But I just want you to know.
I have a quick question, Todd.
Yes, Tony.
So do we have a deadline of when we need to declare whether we're going to do it in our driveway or at Trinity Lutheran, or will that come closer to the time where we can decide on the spot?
Great question. Yes, as the event gets closer, I'll be sending an email to all of you asking you to let us know where you're going to be meeting and whether you're going to be at the church or somewhere else. But yeah, we'll send that out. That's a great question. We would like to know where you are so we can celebrate that. So you've got time. I would say probably a week before the event, we'll be sending that out to kind of find out where you're going to be.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Any other questions? You know, I was a little bit nervous when I knew that part of my job here was to direct this event, especially in a pandemic. But you've got an incredible steering committee who has made this so easy. And I got to tell you, you all signed up for this thing really easily. I don't feel like I had to beg anybody. And so it just lets me know about the love that you have for Home Sweet Home, the love you have for people, the love you have for the Lord. And it would just be my honor right now to pray for you. And thank you for joining it. Now, if you do, thank you for joining this. If you do have questions that come to mind after this event, make sure that you email me. By now, you should have that email saved somewhere. You've gotten so many emails from me, but just let me know what your questions are and how we can best serve you. Because of you, we are able to continue the work and the ministry that we do for our residents and the surrounding community. And I just can't tell you enough how thankful I am for you. I'm looking through your faces right now, and consider you to be an incredible group of heroes and wonderful friends. Let me go ahead and pray for you. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for this opportunity that you have given us to gather together. Lord, I praise you right now for the boys and girls and men and women who are able to receive the work and ministry that Home Sweet Home provides because of your grace. Lord, I pray that you would bless each of our friends on this call and that you will continue to help us as we raise the funds for our team and as we get closer to that goal of $100,000. Right now, dear Lord, every single one of us hand you that God-sized goal, knowing that you are already on top of it. And we trust you. Lord, more than anything else, may you bring glory to your name. And we just want to say we love you. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Could you do me a favor? Whenever I see people in little boxes like this, it makes me think of the old Brady Bunch thing. Could you just kind of do a four-corner wave to everyone here just so I can see it? Just humor me. Yeah, wave to the people. Nice. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of Night in a Car. You are heroes. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey, it's still Giving Tuesday.
That's right.
Hey, it's still my time to get in.
Have a great night.